Hello, Bl'Artagnan here with a no burst, no synergy, no Yuffie run of the Duelahan Lufenia. Chapter 3, Part 2, Act 2? Act 2, Part 2? I don't know. We're going to be actually reusing the HP silence strategy I used in my other video. The differences here are going to be, most importantly, we're not going to be using the burst. Just wanted to try to get through this without doing that. Because a bunch of the other teams I tried here just ran into various issues, and I just wanted to get some kind of clear I could feel good about, you know? This guy is really quite punishing if you don't completely cheese him, you know, with Yuffie, with HP Silence, with Terror, with like a no-turn Terra Lightning goofiness run, turn deletion, what have you. The mechanics are just very brutal, you know, between his cleansing the debuffs, his his freezing you for multiple turns, and of course requiring water damage is a whole other dimension of that you have to kind of account for on top of everything else. So I figured, you know what, let's just clear this without a burst and we'll be good. So we're using Paladin Cecil to enchant mostly Arciela, because a piece of tech that we're adopting here is we're actually using both Rydia and Selphie's calls. I'll get to that in a second when Squall returns. For now, we're using Ultimecia to delete returns, because we need to get a buffer so that we can punch him down to the 80% mark before his recast is charged. As mentioned, if we can do that, get him under 79% before his recast is charged up, then HP Silence will lock him from doing any other actions. If he gets that charge up, then it'll cleanse the HP Silence, and well, we're kind of in trouble there. So the main reason Cecil's enchanting is just to enchant Arciela, because Squall, with his EX, refreshes his buffs, or extends them by 2 turns, including the Rydia call buff. And if you have Aura on him, he'll A, extend Aura, so he'll keep Aura up indefinitely, and B, will charge his EX every other skill use. And that's important, because that means that he can keep Rydia's enchantment on him indefinitely, managing the orb. This also means that we don't need to use Leviathan summon, so we can bring Diablos, taking advantage of that elemental damage, since this fight starts with him hitting us real hard. Normally when a boss starts the fight by taking 2 consecutive turns and hitting you with his recast, that's usually a sign for me that this is going to be a shitty fight. But in this case we can kind of take advantage of that by getting that Diablos bonus damage. So you'll see here that Squall's basically going to be using Assault Trigger every other turn, which is great, A, because of the, extending the buffs, and B, because it just hits real hard. You'll actually notice throughout the battle I'm going to almost exclusively use his skill 1 and his Solid Barrel and his LD. I'm very rarely going to touch his skill 2. The reason for that is Renzokuken is actually has a higher turn rate than his other skills, and on a previous attempt I did of this, we actually ended up not getting the EX to charge in 1 skill use after using Renzokuken. So that's why I'll be basically avoiding that button for the most part. You'll see here we use Gabranth Call as our 3rd call. My thinking there was, since we're letting the boss get turns, something like a Jack Call would fall off after 4 turns or whatever. The Gabranth Call stays on for 6 turns and can be applied twice. That was my thinking here, so we're going to have that bonus HP damage for 12 of the boss's turns. Most of the fight. Beyond that, we're just going to be punching them. Another thing with Arciela is that I found doing this fight is I want to keep her in her Dissension stance the entire fight if we can. Or at least most of it. The reason being that stance comes with a speed down aura. And because the clock we're on here isn't the turn count. The clock we're on very specifically is how many HP silence turns the boss takes, because once the boss is done with their HP silence turns, we're gonna have to deal with that. He might not necessarily wipe us out, but it'll be a huge pain in the butt. I actually, right before recording this, did a run that cleared the boss, beat him, but it actually missed the HP requirement by about 2,000 HP because he hit us, cleansed us, and he was low enough that we couldn't stall out to reheal, because he would have done his counter attack that happens when you hit him with a physical brave attack that doesn't have an HP component. So, to keep that in mind, I want the boss taking as few turns as possible to maximize those HP silences and give us as many skills as we can in between. So we won't be really taking advantage of fast cast too much, which would have been nice, but we'll deal. You see Arciela doing very good damage here between the capacity break and Cecil's buffs and her own buffs. We have quite a few potent auras on this team, which is great for Squall, because Squall's entire deal is hit as hard as he can, so you just want to pump him up. Although it is kind of funny to me that, we often talk about how little utility Squall has, using Holy Flame there to jump in front of the boss to get another turn of punching him, as I mentioned. But it's a weird niche utility Squall has here, being able to take someone else's buff that is granted and carry the entire fight. That's something I hadn't really thought about for him. Aerith did the same thing in the last fight. So bringing the Selphie call made it possible for him to keep the entire fight water enchanted. I didn't come up with the idea myself. I got it from someone on the TCC Discord named Some Girl. I don't know if they have a YouTube channel, so apologies for not being able to properly shout you out there, but that was a fantastic idea. As soon as I saw it, I was like, that's really cool. Bravo. Actually, speaking of shoutouts, I'm pretty sure that the Ultimisi I'm using here is my buddy Indolent Lard, who's also on YouTube. I'll be linking him in the video description. He does some great runs, some of the best produced runs you'll find in YouTube's DFFOO community. Really cool stuff with animations and the music choices and stuff, and good teams too. He's a great player, so I'd recommend giving him a subscribe if you haven't already. But I say for someone whose username is Indolent Lard, he's very active, very busy. Go. The enchantment. You'll see here, as far as turns go, we're doing pretty darn well. 51 turns in, 30% gone, and we haven't used the summon yet. Actually, going to go into the summon now. I wanted to basically make sure that I summoned while the Gabrant debuff was still on him. I figured now's as good a time as any. I didn't want to get into an awkward position where I wanted to reapply Cecil's enchant well in the summon or something like that, so I figured might as well do it now while I know the enchantment's fresh. Even though it really only benefits Arciela in this case. And I guess technically it boosts Cecil's damage a bit too. I think that's how stacked enchants work. I don't do the best job here of really taking advantage of the heightened HP damage ceiling. I probably, with Squall, should have used his LD, and with Arciela should have used her LD as well, instead of using their respective well, Squall's EX I had to use, but instead of using Arciela's EX and Squall's skill 1. Still, I don't think that's going to be a run and killing event though. So here I'm looking at how we jump ahead. And once again, I don't really want to jump too fast with Renzokuken because I want to maintain that, one skill, 1 EX charge with Squall to keep the water enchant on him. Well, actually, Aura would fall off before the water enchant falls off, but you know what I mean. Rip my Wi-Fi, apparently. Go ahead and one last enchant. Again, Arciela's been putting in fantastic damage for a support here. Better than Cecil's, honestly, although I think Cecil's HP damage up is kind of carrying his own weight there for Squall and Arciela. In terms of damage, I mean, Squall just doing tremendous amounts of HP damage each turn. Single target especially, I know Squall kind of specializes in AoE fights, but for a single target fight, being able to repeat his EX every other turn is incredible single target DPS. DPT? DPO? I don't know. So I'm keeping a nervous eye on the HP silence effects there. Because again, we could get to an awkward point where he gets low enough that we can't heal up. We should be good. She has one more use of Dissension and Sight Unseen. Continuing that water damage fueled weakness punch. 300k at the very end of the fight. 1% to go. I think we're there. And just to be on the safe side, I am once again applying the HP sounds because I don't want to miss it. And it's a good thing I did because I didn't quite get there. So we're going to go ahead and try to finish it off with the button I've been avoiding this whole fight, Renzakuken. And there we go. Overkilled. That felt really good. Yeah, there you have it. No BT, no Synergy, no Yuffie run of Dullahan. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider liking the video and maybe subscribe for more content. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Adios.